having our accomplishments overlooked, overshadowed, diminished. It sucks. There's no other way to say it. It sucks. But it's not rare. It's not unique. It happens through every level of society. But I think having your entire life work overlooked nationally, it's gotta suck. It's gotta suck. For Lavonte David, that feeling was a constant throughout his entire 14-year NFL career. Starting with his rookie season, where he only received 2 votes for Defensive Rookie of the Year after outshining just about every other rookie in his class, to now, where he has cemented himself as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer legend, and most people wouldn't consider him Hall of Fame worthy, which is ludicrous. Hopefully, through this speech, you can learn a little bit about Lavonte's life and his career, and hopefully, it kind of reflects a little bit of you, and of feeling these feelings of being overlooked, overshadowed, diminished. So, starting with Lavonte's early life, he was born in Miami, 1990. If you know anything about Miami or South Florida football in general, you know they produce NFL talent. Just last season, Miami fielded the second most players on opening weekend of any other city in America. It's pretty crazy. And that's just the city of Miami. That does not include the South Florida megalopolis. For high school, Lavonte attended Miami Northwestern. He played on a team just flooded with NFL talent. He played a vital role in bringing them to back-to-back championships in 2006 and 2007. Lavonte graduated in 2008. He was heavily recruited by big-name schools, Georgia, Tennessee, even his hometown school of Miami. But that kind of all came crashing down once these schools found out that Lavonte was academically ineligible. So that's got to sting. He had to sit there on his signing day watching all the other elite players from his school, players like Sean Spence, Corey Harris, and even his future NFL teammate, Teddy Bridgewater, signed to elite level schools like Miami. That's just, it's rough. Lavonte was sitting there left with one option, Middle Tennessee. I don't know if you guys keep up with college football the way that I do, but I'm just going to assume nobody knows who Middle Tennessee is. And let me tell you, you don't want to play for the Blue Raiders. You don't want to play for the Blue Raiders. So Lavonte was planning on going to Middle Tennessee, where he'd have to sit for a season, something he hasn't done since he started playing football as a young kid, and he would have to reapply in the spring. Lavonte was crushed by this, but he got a little call from Fort Scott Community College that would shake things up a little bit. He signs to Fort Scott. A Florida boy moves up to Kansas, middle of nowhere, and he actually has to compete for a starting spot, something he hasn't done his whole career. He's just always been that guy in his city. So after competing, Lavonte, of course, earns a spot, or we wouldn't be talking about him right now. He was still playing against elite level talent, such as Cam Newton, a future NFL MVP, to his own teammate, Jason Pierre-Paul, who he actually ended up winning a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. So he worked his way through the community college level. He ended up earning his AA, and then it was back to the recruitment process. With multiple teams looking at him, multiple schools, he landed on Nebraska. Another weird choice for a guy from South Florida. I know you couldn't pay me to go to Nebraska. I mean, nowadays with the NILs, yeah, if you give me a Rolex and a Rolls Royce, I'll go to Nebraska, sure. But Lavonte hit the ground running once he got to Nebraska. He set the school's single-season tackle record in his first season, and he was a 2-time All-American there, pretty much firmly establishing himself as NFL talent. So the 2012 draft, Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Lavonte David with the 58th pick, and he was ready to shine. Hitting the ground quick. He was named a starter almost immediately, started on the first game. He did fall short of the Defensive Rookie of the Year, like we talked about earlier, but he was still on the All-Rookie team, and things were looking up for Lavonte. But you have to understand the class that he came from. Just absolutely loaded, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and even more especially at the linebacker position, featuring guys like Luke Kuechly, Bobby Wagner, Dante Hightower, Demario Davis. It was just absolutely loaded. So it's understandable to get overshadowed by some of the guys he was playing with, but Lavonte was working from those shadows, and he was working pretty good. He led that class of guys in their first year in tackles, sacks, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, and tackles for loss. He was shining, just not on a national level. Bobby Wagner and Luke Kuechly are regarded as two of the best linebackers in that class, if not Lavonte's generation, if not two of the best linebackers of all time. But Lavonte David kind of ran circles around him for his entire career. For Kuechly, it's a little bit harder to compare statistics because Kuechly did retire at a young age after 8 seasons in the NFL. But during those 8 seasons, David outshined him in every statistic possible outside of interceptions and assisted tackles. And then same thing for Bobby Wagner. He lit Bobby Wagner up. Bobby only had the edge in assisted tackles. David had 5 times as many forced fumbles as him and almost double the amount of fumble recoveries as him through his entire career. Bobby still playing will hopefully surpass those numbers, but as far as the careers that we've seen them play together, and those guys don't hold a candle to David. They did in terms of NFL honors, though. In my opinion, NFL honors are simply a popularity contest. He fell short, I think, due to his team as a Buccaneers fan. It was hell for me growing up watching him, and I can assume it was the same for anybody else, especially if you weren't a fan. Why would you watch the Buccaneers? So why would you know who Lavonte David is? Who's this guy? Why are we going to vote for him? But Lavonte lit it up. But maybe he wasn't flashy enough to capture the national attention. But unfortunately, throughout his career, Lavonte David was only nominated for 1 Pro Bowl and 1 first-team All-Pro, while Kuechly was nominated for 7 and 5, and Bobby Wagner for 10 and 6. Although he didn't gain the national attention, he had attention one place, and that was in Tampa Bay. Lavonte's impact in Tampa cannot be understated. He was such a cornerstone for the people, the team, the staff, everybody. He saved a lot of coaches' jobs just by having that guy out there. I remember myself as, a 10-year-old kid sitting on my couch watching him get drafted, to just last year watching him play his final game at Raymond James Stadium, sitting in the freezing cold rain with my brother-in-law. And we both kind of knew it was the last time we were going to see this legend play football. He built a legacy there. He became the example, the cornerstone of what it meant to play Tampa Bay football. But unfortunately, the rest of the nation didn't get the memo. So even though he was overlooked, diminished, outshined, I guess is a way you could say it, he still built something special for himself. And I think that's the message we kind of all take away from this. We all feel these feelings, but they're normal, and they happen to everybody, even Super Bowl 55 champion Lavonte David. Thank you.